Ladies and gentlemen, today we bring you a very special event. We're going to take some time to remember the life and times of one of the coolest cats you could ever meet, one of the most hard charging, driven, imaginative, talented, fantastic human being, the one and only Javan Bonds. With me right now, we may have others popping in and popping out as we go. We'll see. We have good friend and cohort Lee Edwards, author extraordinaire Richard Ryan Rose, another fantastic author and huge fan of Roman history, Angel Ramon, the lovely, talented, and keeps my butt in line, Miss Charlotte Hoaks, our queen bee of the whole written darned universe, the one, the only, the insanely ravishing DJ Cooper, and one of my whole wide world favorite peeps ever, the one and only Patti Rauccio. So, guys, where do we want to start? I'm going to say we need to start with somebody that's known Javan probably better than any of us ever could, and that's Patti. Give us a little background into what it was like when you first met him.
Oh God. When I first met him, I joined his fan club, actually. I read, I kind of got into the zombie genre reading and kind of, discovered him from Tufo's books, right? Because he kind of popped up in the same kind of, searches and stuff. So I was like, oh, so let me read these books. And I think I read the first two or three, and I found the fan club and I joined. And, true to Javan fashion, when people join his fan club, he usually reaches out at some point. And within, I think, the first couple weeks I joined, I put my name in the hat to be killed in one of his books. And, I was trying to catch up reading because he was writing, I think it was book 7 at the time. And we just started chit-chatting online. He thought my name was funny, and I had to send a voice recording, as a lot of his fans probably did, for Sean to be able to say my last name right. And we just started chit-chatting from there. So and then it became, a really great friendship. I mean, we had a lot of fun chit-chatting, and then, he kind of asked me to help him out with some of his books because, he would ask me things off the wall sometimes, like true Javan fashion with a lot of his friends and, fans and stuff, if you haven't talked to him for a little while, you just automatically get a message out of the blue sometimes. So I would get some of those, and, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And so that's kind of how I first met Jav.
Sweet. That's a good story.
Yeah. Okay. It kind of blossomed from there, and it was just we talked, almost every day after a little while. So.
Now, were there any points when you were first getting to know him and talking to him and all that, you were just sitting on the other end of the line like, this guy is out of his mind? He's freaking crazy.
No, because I don't hide it, but sometimes I hide the crazy a little bit better than most other times. But we were two peas in a pod. He was a little bit more open about it.
How close did you live to Javan?
I was 500 miles away, give or take some. I was in the middle of North Carolina, outside of Raleigh. I lived there for 20 something years, 22 years, something like that. And I would come to visit him quite often. At least every 6 weeks, I would try to come for at least about a week or 2 weeks at a time if I could manage it, because I work from home. So I would just bring everything with me and kind of do whatever I needed to do. So we did that for almost a year, probably a little over a year. And then I finally said, okay, my rental house contract was up, and I was like, ready or not. I'm coming.
was,
He was more
yeah.
than ready though. He wanted me here a lot earlier than I got here. So
That's
That's
sweet.
it.
That was sweet.
Yeah, y'all's story is actually, of all the love stories in the world, y'all's is my favorite, hands down. I
No,
mean, just
seriously.
I don't see it like that. I just see like we just kind of, we had a really great friendship that just grew from that. And I didn't mind doing the stuff I had to do to help Javan every day. I mean, he'll tell anybody, right now, if they would listen, how much work it is. And it was a lot of work, but
Mhm.
I never minded. I didn't care. His parents never minded. They didn't care. I mean, and even as he got sicker in the last couple months, he needed more and
Mhm.
didn't care, I mean,
Right.
and a lot of people, and maybe he'll come and haunt me for saying this. But he did. When I say that he thanked me every day, he literally thanked me probably sometimes multiple times a day, every day, at least once, for being here, for loving him, for doing what I did. And my
Yeah.
response was always, and I mean, I know it sounds cheesy, but I would tell him, there's no place I would ever rather be. I mean, once I found him and he found me, I was with him 24/7 for over a year, 24/7. So the last 15 days have been pretty hard.
I was
And
gonna
I
say,
I can't
I
imagine how his parents feel. I mean, I live with them and we support each other, and they've been just truly godsends in my life right now. And I
Right.
hope they could say the same. I mean, they might, I don't know when they come back, but they've they had him a lot longer than I did.
That's for sure.
And I wish I had more. That's all I can say, I guess. I just wish I had more.
I know.
yeah, there's a whole world of.
I think we all agree that we wish she was here longer. Yeah. It's tragic that I didn't get to see him either. So
I know he would have loved to meet you, Angel. Honestly.
Unfortunately, getting from Puerto Rico to out there is a bit of a hassle. Unfortunately,
Yeah. We toyed
He-
about maybe getting on a plane, but he
I know.
couldn't do that.
Yeah. Patty, I wanted to ask you. So, what were the last moments between you and Javan? What did it consist of before he unfortunately passed? How was it? The last few
Um,
moments.
well, I'm not going to get into that too much because
Okay, no,
it was a
no,
little
okay, that's not a
bit, but
problem.
he had a really good last day.
Okay.
I actually was out with his sister-in-law.
Uh-huh.
We went to it's called Christmas Village here in Birmingham. Outside,
Okay.
well, I'm not in Birmingham, but
Mhm.
45 minutes away.
Okay.
And he actually really wanted me to go and have a day because he knew that, being, taking care of him was a lot. And he always wanted me to
Yeah.
have me time.
Mhm.
But he had a fantastic day. His mom and dad were both home. They had a wonderful day with him. He had a few episodes. He was having, of course, when he tells his fans he was having some episodes, he was having chest pains. And basically it was because his heart was getting weaker, because due to his uh
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to say it was a disease, it was just a disorder really, but
I hear you. I hear you.
so yeah, so he had a really great day. I mean, he ate like 8 pancakes that morning.
Mm.
Wow.
He had a really great day food wise.
Hey, I need to have it. I need to have fun. Yeah, you enjoyed.
Yeah, he always tried to do as much as he could. He wrote that day, he messaged people on Facebook that day, he exercised that day, he ate everything he wanted to eat that day.
Mhm.
I mean, he lived like he normally did every single day. I mean, he did everything, no matter how much he hurt, no matter how he felt,
Mhm.
he did the things that he wanted to do. So, and that's how it was. So.
Let me ask you something, Patty. Did Javan ever do anything for fun, or was he always just constantly marketing and writing? Did he ever do
Yeah, you would
anything
think,
else?
right? You would think. But yeah, no, we had a bunch of fun. I mean, we would take breaks during the day all the time, and we ate all our meals together, and we would chit chat. And I mean, he didn't really leave the house a lot just because it was hard to get him in and out.
Mhm.
But when we did, we always had a great time.
Right.
The one time when we figured out that I can actually lift him in and out of the car, oh, he was planning like weekends, like we can go here, we can go there, we could do this. And I was like, okay, there's only so many times I can lift you in and out of the car before like my back's gonna give out. So
Yeah.
let's figure out where we really want to go. And the first time he was always very food centric. The first time he ever wanted to go and do something with just the two of us in the car, which was a novelty at that point. It we went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Nice.
Dubs.
Not a bad place.
Love wings. So, but yeah, we did a lot of fun stuff. I mean, we would chit chat all the time. I mean, we just spending time with each other. We just always had a ball. Like, and again, I don't want to sound cliche, but we laughed every day. Like when we got up, I was the lazy one. He was always waiting on me to get up, and I would have to get him up. And he would just be like, "All right, slowpoke, it's time to get up, lazy." You know, and then we wouldn't say drag ass. We would, you know, you're dragassing again. So, you know, like I'm like, fine, I'm getting up. So he was always the one that pushed me. Shocker, I know.
Yeah, Sarge. And
Yeah.
when did you
I call
when
him
did
Sarge for a reason.
yeah, when did you first start calling him Sarge? How long did it
Oh,
take
God.
him to just push you until you're like, okay, Sarge?
Well, early on, right? Like I used to call him Sarge when we would just message each other just because he, you know, he would ask me to do stuff for the book or do, you know, whatever. And I'd be like, I have a 40+ hour job, you know, hour a week job, you know, and then I had all this other stuff on, you know, going on in my personal life that I had to get done and all this other, and he would just be constantly boom, boom, boom. Did you do this? Did you do that? I was like, so finally one day I was like, okay, Sarge. And it just stuck. So probably over 2 years, I've been referring to him as Sarge.
Properly named. Well, now somebody else has got a completely different relationship than you had with Javan, but at the same time, it was quite possibly just as tight, and that's DJ Cooper. D, when did you first stumble upon this wrecking ball that is Javan Bonds?
Well, January 2018, I was putting together the Written Apocalypse group, and I had reached out to Randy. Actually, I had spoken to him earlier about something completely different, and he told me about his son who wrote zombie books. And so in January 2018, we put together the Written Apocalypse group, and Javan was our token zombie writer. And it didn't take but a couple of months before Javan came to me and he said, I want to be with my own kind. Those were his exact words. I want to be with my own kind. And it wasn't long after the Written Apocalypse started, we started up the Written Undead group. And I warned him. I said, we'll start this group and you can hang out with your own kind, but you belong to me. You're not going nowhere. And so I was just looking through some conversations that we had, and he was so funny because it was this whole new concept because, you know, everybody, they tease me. They're just like, oh, yep, queen of the whole thing. It's only because they built a bunch of groups and a bunch of other crap. But, you know, he didn't know how to act really sometimes. And so I put him in charge of the Written Undead. And he's like, you know, I've never been the boss before. I said, well, you know, rule, bad mistake. Telling you what, all y'all suffered for this. But I was adding someone. I'm gonna read this to you. I was adding someone, and for his crew, for the Written Undead, and I said, I'm adding her to the crew. And he says, well, welcome her to the Undead. I said, I'm working on it. And he said, you can explain to her that I am your Lord and Master. I will friend her because I don't believe I've ever spoken to her. I said, she's your friend. Just message her and be nice. He says, I'm always fucking nice, damn it.
Oh,
And that was, that was Javan. Him and I, always had this, we would just go back and forth. And as everybody probably knows, I don't know how many people were around at the time, but when I was driving the bus in New York, I don't know how many of y'all remember that, but I was driving a big ass, a 53-foot bus in New York City, and all of the written undead decides to come unhinged. I got a whole bus full of athletes and all this shit's going down. My phone's going crazy. I'm hanging on for dear life, watching the Empire State Building go by, and 30,000 people in front of me. I pulled that bus over and told everybody I needed a minute. And I got off the bus and I paused the written undead group and told him I was not going to unpause it until I got back from New York.
I think I remember that.
It was sheer chaos. I'm telling you what, but that was a rare moment. Usually he just ordered me around and I did whatever because, that was my job. But occasionally I would come off with stuff and I have another message and I send in all capital letters and it says, bonds. And he says, yes, just small, yes, question mark. I said, oh, nothing. I just wanted to see if I could make you my bitch.
Damn.
And that was
Wow.
kind of how we communicated a lot.
Did he
When he
tell
wasn't
you,
yelling at
DJ?
me.
Did he tell you, DJ, that when women yelled at him or got like really authoritative with him, he said he would always it would always make him cry? So when you yelled at him, he probably was like, "Oh, damn."
Oops. I
remember Randy. There was one. I don't remember what it was. Javan was just Javan, and every now and again, I got to tell you, I love Javan to the moon and back. And God forbid anybody shit on him in his own group or otherwise. Because here, queen of this whole thing would use that scepter to pound them into a bloody pulp, virtually, of course. And I can tell you what, I took many a beating from a few people who are incidentally still very banned from everything I do online. And I have a lot of groups, actually. It's not just these couple of groups. I have a lot of them. And they are banned across the board, never to return, because it's one thing to disagree with him. And it's one thing to not agree with his rules and things like this. But it's a whole nother story to be malicious and mean. And that was never something that was gonna. And I'll tell you what, I had a bout there where, man, some people dragged my name through the mud. And here's what I had to tell them.
Damn right.
There you go. Ego.
I didn't even care. First time I met Javan, I got stung in the ass when I sat on the outhouse. That was memorable.
That's
it.
Flew down for a thing down in Alabama. My luggage got lost and I had no clothes. Went to Walmart, had the ugliest things that you ever saw, a toothbrush. Thank God for Johnny Jacks, who had a tent, because everything, like literally I had nothing. And but it was great fun. Went to the bathroom, sat on the toilet, got stung in the ass by something. It was awful. That thing was like this big. It was terrible. But I had a great time. That was the first time I met Javan. And online, Javan was just so full of flavor and so out there and so outgoing and everything. And then I see him in person and I'm sitting in front of him and I couldn't pry a single word out of him. Not one.
Isn't that crazy?
We're sitting there face to face and he's just like,
He got
Okay, now-
intimidated. He wouldn't admit it, but he was intimidated.
Well, you got to figure too. He was blind and mostly deaf, so he's like, I don't know where she's at. I don't know where she's
Well,
at. She's gonna get
well,
me.
back then he could still see some, and he
Yeah.
heard a lot better. So he would tell me all the time that DJ was like a beautiful woman, and
Mm.
he would get flustered.
Oh, I have messages from him. I'm not reading those. And
Imagine.
Javan is younger than my oldest son. And so no matter how many times he would come off with these things, I'd have to explain to him. I'm like, dude, you're my son. You're more like a son to me than anything else. And
He would try
so
to get
thank
it from
God for
wherever he
Patti.
could.
What?
I said he would try to get it from wherever he could.
Oh my God! All I can say is thank God for Patti. Although Randy did come to me at one point because Javan got all full of himself once he found himself a woman, and was giving me grief like it was, and I yelled at his ass, like yelled at him.
Good.
And Randy had to come to me, and he was apologizing and saying, he's all full of himself. I will not repeat what he said, but at any rate, he was full of himself, and he was all apologetic. And I said, don't apologize. I said, I love Javan to pieces. And it's like family or something. You fight or whatever, but you still love them.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I know.
I've been the one that's like all quiet and everything. I don't think y'all.
Take your time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she collects herself.
November 4th.
Oh, there we go.
November 4th, the day we lost him, was also my grandmother's birthday.
Oh,
the singular most important person in my life. She's been gone a long, long time.
wow.
But I gotta tell you what, Javan will never leave my brain because. All right, y'all don't want to look at me right now.
I get it. I totally understand.
Okay, well, first off,
well, I've been quiet because that's how I process. You just, I don't talk about things to anybody about nothing. And I didn't want to be here. Patti dragged me here.
I guilted you.
She did.
If I have to be here and hold it together, you have to be here and hold it together.
No, you have to hold it together. Me, I can completely fall apart if I want to.
Oh, believe me, I've had some mornings. I actually had to tell one of the guys I work with, I was like, I need to go lay down. I'll be back in about an hour. He was like, take your time. I was like, thank you.
Well, I have this uncanny way of avoiding things, when it comes to things that are unpleasant. Like this, that actually I've spent the past week just binge watching Game of Thrones because that just seemed like the thing to do.
Yeah, it's mindless. I've just, because I've been with him 24/7 and there was always something either work or Jav related. I don't know what to do with myself, and work hasn't been as busy this past week as it usually was, so it was hard. And then plus two, Randy he works part-time and he's semi-retired, and Debbie works full-time, so the house is pretty quiet. And I've been putting music on in the other room because I used to always have Jav in the other room, talking to the computer, whereas it was just became background noise because I would tune him out because I would work. And just, when he yelled, Trish, I knew I had to get up and do something. So I don't get Trish anymore randomly during the day. So it's been a
hear you.
hard.
It's just, it's bad, sad. Well, hey, Ben, welcome on, man. Glad you were able to make it, coming to us from the UK.
Thank you.
Well, I want to, real quick, I want to go to Charlotte because, again, someone else with a different kind of relationship with Javan because, Charlotte is more of the stateswoman of the group. She's kind of the even keel, keep everything balanced. Then you got Javan over here just throwing his poop at the wall, and then you got me, and J.S. Patrick and A.L. White over here talking just silly nonsense in Antonio Banderas voices.
Oh, love that.
But she has a different way that she dealt with Javan. Tell us a little about your first time meeting him, start off, and then what your relationship was like with him.
I met Javan when my son was real sick. He had heart problems and was really not expected. The cardiologist said we can't do anything more for him and referred me to someone else, another group at Texas Children's. But anyway, Javan was one of the most compassionate people I know. He understood, I think, a lot of the stress of having my son sick all the time, because he was sick all the time. But he could laugh and joke, and I would fuss at him and tell him he was my redheaded stepchild because of his profane language and his poor behavior. And he became literally, I felt like he was part of my family because he was so encouraging. He asked me to be part of the Written Undead early on when my son was real sick. And I said, I can't right now, but it was an escape because I could always get on Messenger if I was having a bad day and say something. And he would be, I can't say encouraging, but distracting. Well, how have you, he was always, how is the writing going? Where are you at? When is the next one coming out? And just kind of the person he was. He was constantly able to pull something out and give me a sense of peace during a bad time. And then when my son had surgery in 19, leading up to it, it was a long wait between them agreeing to be able to do something and then being able to plan it, because it was such an extensive procedure. He went through a 10-hour cath.
Wow.
And there was a backup surgical team in case things went south. But during that time, Javan's saying, it's going to be okay. Get back to writing. Do this, do that, or laughing about something. Just, he was that kind of a person. He knew instinctively what would help and get me out of my head and the struggle. So he was always there. And when Michael started getting better and I started talking about it, he says, time for you to step up. And that's how I became part of the Written Dead group, as more than just a fan and part of the writing and just sort of putting things out there. But he was fantastic when it came to just knowing that balance, being able to reach out when I needed someone to reach out, and understanding. But I just think he was the stepchild that I never had. And I always thought of him that way. And I don't know, connected my son with him and the strength of the two of them together. And it just, he was such an unusual person to be in the position that he was in.
Absolutely.
Everyone just strive to be that person that always can look forward despite everything. And it reminds me so much of my son. And so it's almost like the two melded.
Right.
Well, let me ask you
It's
this.
hard.
What was your first thought when you started seeing him doing the videos with the Marmite and all the other crazy things that he ate? And just so everybody knows,
More insanity than any human being. Sir. He
I got
would
my
smear
job.
that crap on anything. And
That
I've tasted it. It's
that is
nasty.
Javan's one of Javan's jars, by the way. He
Yes.
got that.
What is it?
That is,
Oh.
he was so funny. And then with the hot sauce deal,
Mm.
he found one that he couldn't tolerate. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
amazing to me. I went out to Mexican food yesterday with some family, and we went to a real Mexican place, not a Tex-Mex.
Mhm.
And had a green sauce that just about wiped out the back of my throat.
Wow.
Oh,
I'd have loved to have been able to bottle that and send it to Javan.
Oh, he
You
would
know,
love
he'd
it.
ate it. He'd have ate it.
you would have ate it. Mm-hmm.
We
No
actually
question.
did
He would have.
we went to Mexican the other night. It was me, Randy, Debbie, and Javan's sister-in-law Tiffany and her two children, Adeline and Xander. And Adeline was on some of his videos. So and we sat down at the table, and Xander, he's 5, and he knows Javan's gone, but I don't think he gets it. But he sat there and he looked at the hot sauce and he said, that's hot sauce. And I said, yeah. And he goes, Javan would eat it, but he's not here anymore. And I said,
Mm.
no, he would eat it. I said, but yeah, you're right, he's not here. I said, but he would want you to try it. And he was like, I'm not trying that.
How can you go somewhere where they have a hot sauce that just about burns your tonsils out and not think of Javan?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We still
I
have
would love him to have
yeah.
eaten.
We still have a
This
ton
was
of stuff.
miserable.
Wow.
Anywhere we would find hot sauce and we'd be like, oh, Javan would love to try this, So everywhere we've been going now lately, it's like I've been bypassing all those vendors. Like if we go somewhere, like, because it's Christmassy time and, they have craft fairs all over the place here, and just to get out of the house. And we went yesterday and I was like, I'm not even stopping at these things because I'm not even going to take the chance of bawling in the middle of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, contest idea. Y'all still have a bunch of the jars left over from his previous stuff that didn't get given away. Do some contest in his fan group where someone can win one of those jars.
Oh,
Because
gosh.
like I said,
I don't think anybody would enter.
Yeah,
I'm never-
Nobody wants that.
You'd be
Like I said,
surprised.
I will
I
never
would enter.
finish this thing, but I will not get rid of this. This will eventually find itself over here. And
Yeah, we had
I'm going to cherish this forever. And I'm thinking, even if the fans wouldn't eat the stuff you sent them, they'd like to have some.
Well,
This is a cool thing
put
to
a
have.
band around it.
I
Put
might
one
try
of
it.
his rubber bands around the top.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
his
now
wristbands,
Javan's.
Yeah. Yeah, because at his celebration of life, I know Richard and Jack were there. We had a table set up where Randy looped a few of the Marmite and hot sauce tasting videos that we've done, and we had them all out. And there was a sign that said, if you want to try it at your own risk. And we had crackers for people to put stuff on, and a thing of chocolates to try to calm your mouth down a little bit afterwards. And just to take, if you like it or whatever, just feel free and take it. But we still had a lot of it was actually gone by the end of the night, believe it or not, which I was shocked because I was like, who the heck wants all that stuff? But
Right.
but
Well,
there's a few things left.
Well,
I'll
speaking
tell you,
of which,
I
like to
always
take
looked
some
for
hot
something
sauce.
that I figured was ultra hot
Oh.
that I was going to send him.
One thing I
But
like to do with
you
hot
know how
sauce is
that goes.
Yeah, I love spicy stuff because like my mom's side of the family is Cajun and my father is Turkish, so I love spicy.
That runs in your family.
okay, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, one thing I like to do with hot sauce, I like to inject it into turkey
Mm-hmm.
when I deep fry
Oh, yeah.
turkey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I usually use like Texas Pete or something. I'm definitely going to use some of that moonshine sauce that I took from the celebration of life.
Yeah, that
Put some of that
one
in
was
there.
a little bit more spicy than he normally. There's another one that's called Fair Hope, and it's not the extra spicy, it's just the regular. So if you ever find it online, you should, if you like this one, you should try that one. He would put on his greens and his black eyed peas, and because that's what's like one of his favorite things to eat, and he would put them on there all the time, and it was actually tasty. I would use it every now and then too. It was pretty good. But the extra hot one that you got, Richard, that one's pretty spicy. I would never use that one.
Good flavor to it, though.
Yeah,
Well,
it does. It has a good flavor.
I've got us a comment from somebody viewing. I'm hoping I get this last name right. I'm bad about butchering names, but Kelly Dupont says, LOL, my son is eating sauce so hot that I can't even touch it. He is also the king of hot sauce. I bought him a few for Christmas. LOL. So there's some people just have an obsession with this hot stuff. I don't know what it is. I can't do it.
Yeah,
No. Now,
Well,
me and Richard did.
Go
Me and
ahead.
Richard did do the, taste testing a few things while we were down there. We even ate a couple crickets. Just so everybody knows, we did do that.
I
Yeah,
still
we
got
had
some
those
in
out.
my
Yeah,
cabinet.
we had those out. We were like, please, somebody eat those.
Yum, sounds yummy.
That
I
explains
actually-
so much now.
Yeah, they actually don't taste that bad.
They were
There's
some of the
also-
best tasting things on that table.
Yeah, for real. Probably
Ed?
the best testing thing on that table next to the chocolate.
Yeah. Well, Ed,
I've never been so happy to be sick in my life than when I came down and visited you guys. I was so sick, and then you guys started eating all that stuff. I'm like, thank God.
This is totally making me feel better right now. Good job.
he was like,
Good
oh, thank
job,
God I
Ed.
don't have to eat that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
I did hate that weekend, and it literally broke my heart to be sick though that weekend because I didn't want to get near Jav. As somebody who has a medical fragile daughter, I know what illness does to people, and I hated the fact that we went down there and then I had to stay in another room and avoid him. Being
Yeah,
down
no.
because I was
He,
sick.
he totally understood, and he was just really hoping that there would be another opportunity to either us come to you guys or you guys can come down again, but it just unfortunately. But yeah, no, he totally understood.
Yeah, well, so we're still definitely gonna be making another trip back down again. I mean,
I
just because
hope.
Javan's gone, we love the family. We love all you guys, and that actually does bring me to one quick question because I want to get to Ben because it's getting late over there where he's at.
Yeah.
But when you first met, Randy and Debbie, after getting to know Javan a little bit, how quickly did they just embrace you?
Oh gosh. The first visit was, I think everybody was just kind of like really getting to know one another at that point. But Javan and I knew, we had something pretty special, and Javan, honestly didn't have time to wait. You know what I mean? And he just wanted to go full steam with everything. And I just kind of had to tell him, like DJ said before, sometimes he didn't know how to act, because he wasn't sheltered, but he wasn't out in with everybody all the time. So he just would figure we're just doing this and everybody else can eat shit, basically was his words. So it was kind of like, well, no, you kind of have to, do things in a certain way. And so the first time we came down, I got to meet everybody, and they were very welcoming. I mean, obviously, you guys know when you guys came down, they're very, very social and very accepting and just very welcoming people in general. But the second time when I came down, I think it was after Thanksgiving. And that was kind of, I think, when we were just like, yeah, we know this is good, and they hugged me when I left. They were like, we can't wait to see you again. You're always welcome here. And, even within the last year that I've been here and going through everything, Javan would, always ask me, he was like, so after I'm gone, what are your plans? And I said, I don't know. I said, maybe I'll stay here with your mom and dad. And he said, yeah, they'll let you stay for about a week or so.
And then the boot.
And yeah.
Sounds like it.
And and we would always chat about that, and his mom and dad were always telling me, it was like, no, you're here for life if you want, and when it got down to where I know a lot of people maybe not aware of that, but a month before Javan passed, his doctor gave him a time frame, meaning he only had so long. And so even after that, his parents always said, you're welcome for however long you want. Because I mean, I was married before I have kids, you know, and they're like, we understand, you know, you might want to move back there at some point, but know that you always are family. You're, you know, our daughter, and we love you. And they just reiterated that fact after he's gone. So
Right.
I won't probably be moving anytime soon for a little bit, just
Yeah.
trying to get everything together and
Well,
get
yeah.
myself straight.
Yeah.
But eventually I'll probably go back to North Carolina, but I'll always be back here to visit, and they're my family now too.
I hear
So
you.
And I do. I absolutely love those two. From
They're
the
great.
first time I met them at the meet and greet that hot summer day, they were just like, they knew me for life the way they greeted me. I mean, they're just those kind of people.
Oh yeah, they were very happy to read, you know, to meet fans of Javan anyway. I mean, you know, because he was just all invested and all in. But I know Javan often talked about me to his parents prior to everything too. So it wasn't like we were two strangers, you know what I mean? When I came, we kind of knew each other and through that. So I have to go and get my plug because I forgot it, and my battery is poop on this laptop. So I'm gonna be right back.
Okie dokie.
Wow.
All right, Big Ben, my man from across the pond. Dude, let's, like, everybody's been doing it. How did you first meet Javan, and what were your first impressions?
The first time, well, it was all online, and he approached me to come and join the Written Undead. So I don't know who it was that actually put my name forward to him or mentioned us to him or anything, but for to have another author reach out and say, we've got this group of authors, I think that you would fit in, are you interested? It was like, I suppose it was like, it was a position that I'd never been in, and like Javan was obviously quite forward. Obviously Javan was a forward type of person from what I've seen, and he was open with like what he would expect for to be as a member in the group, and what we need to do and things like that. And that's, I think I hadn't heard of I hadn't come across any of his books at the time. So I had no idea that he was absolutely obsessed with fecal matter, shall we say.
and shooting guys in the heads of their PPs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But watching them jiggle as they run. Forget that part.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I mean, when he brought us into the group, and it like I say, it gives the chance to. It was because it was the first type of offer, first person who would approach us for stuff like that. That was kind of like my introduction to a lot of the way of like a lot of other authors in the genre as well. It's I think before I started speaking to Javan about things, it was kind of like it was me, as you say, on the other side of the pond. It was just me, and just I suppose like ticking on by, getting on day to day with whatever I do. And then once, as I say, once I started speaking to Javan, once I started looking through at his work, and it wasn't until I think I started speaking to him more and actually realized that it was the health conditions that he had. It was, I suppose in many instances, it would be enough to make other people kind of just stop, I suppose. And I don't think he ever really considered that as an option for himself. He always seemed to be wanting to go on. And I mean, obviously he's what was it, 11 books or something like that, and that's
11.
Yeah, he got
12.
Yeah, he had 10 in Still Alive. He was working on book 11, and then he had Blood of Tyrants also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for, as I say, for someone who has the health conditions as it was when I first started into the crew, obviously it was impressive. It showed his commitment, and then as time progressed, and I think we could notice in the group chat that we'll have, there would be days where it would Dragon, obviously his speech to text system, it understood him about 90% of the time, and I think as time progressed, you kind of understand what that missing or that misunderstood 10% actually was. I think Randy used to refer to it as his Dragonese. The way that it just kind of picks up on his accent, and as time progressed, and obviously his condition did worsen, it didn't stop him, and that's like, I suppose that's like inspiring, really, because like I say, a lot of people in that position would just kind of not so much give up, I suppose, but they may not have been their priority. And we know that Javan wanted to do his writing, and The Written Undead was his.
That's his baby.
Yeah,
That was
It was his kicking ground, his stomping ground. Sorry, that's where he. And we know that he liked to give D a hard time.
Yes.
And
not just D.
Not just
Holy
D, no. But I mean that's just it. He was I suppose a straight shooter is probably the best way to describe it. And we know that he didn't take anyone's shit, and he loved to give it out.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he did.
And I know obviously there has been ups and downs since I think it was 2020. I think I joined the crew. I think I was looking over my notes, and we've had ups and downs, and Javan just hasn't let anything get in his way when it came to what he wanted for himself or the group, and that was such an admirable quality of him.
Absolutely, man, and so glad that you're able to make it in here.
Excuse me. He was always so supportive of all of the writers within The Written Undead.
Yeah,
he was just fantastic. Do more, push more.
Yes,
but he was. And he had his own way of doing that, and some of it involved
Yes,
cussing and
Very
fussing. But still, you couldn't ask for a person that would be more supportive of other writers.
definitely.
Yeah.
And he was always telling us. I think he's probably told other people the same, but getting into audiobooks, that's the big thing. He was always very, very focused. I don't know if that's right, but he was always pushing the audiobooks. It was a big thing for him. And I suppose it's one of those things that something I released not long ago. I thought, if that does well, maybe I can get an audiobook sorted, and then I can go back to Javan and say, well, look, I've done this. I've done what you've told us. Just leave us alone for 5 minutes. But yeah, so that's
yeah. He was big on that. I mean, he really truly, when he got on, you guys, I just know from us chatting and talking about it that he would just get frustrated because, he would be like, I think he said one time, and I don't know if he said it to his mom or not, that it's a good thing, it might be a good thing that he was in a wheelchair because he might have taken over the world at this point. We don't know. I mean, he was so determined, and he just really would get frustrated because he would see people that were more able-bodied than him with talent and the know-how and the time and the just the overall, they can do this. Why wouldn't they do this? Yeah, he would just get frustrated, just go and do it and make yourself money and get a name out there, So that's where a lot of his, I'll call it passion, was behind all this.
That's the word, passion, because he did have a passion.
passion and tough love, as I like to say, tough love.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I met Javan,
again, because Dee was right. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, I'm just saying that's how I actually met Javan. I was always a silent observer on Written Undead, and he did this. He went on an epic run of telling people that they were shit at marketing, and they were. I mean, he was so blunt. I can't remember the exact words, but it was. I was like, oh my god! And I was like, who is this
That's
asshole?
good.
So I was just like, who is this asshole? You know,
Yeah,
stuff.
basically.
And then I started
Little
talking
did you
to
know.
him, and the more I talked to him, the more I got to know him, and I realized he just doesn't want himself to be successful. He wanted everybody to be
Yes.
successful.
You
And he
hit it on
wasn't
the
being an
nose.
asshole. He was being, like Patti just said, passionate and reaching his hand back down to help people beneath him come up.
Yeah.
And
And you know,
my
that's
view
so
started
rare.
of him. He went from, oh my God, this dude's an asshole, to I really respect this guy and see what he's doing, and he's trying to help everybody. And then we became friends and we started talking. And unfortunately, I used to have a podcast with Jack about with handicapped people. And Javan wrote me one day and was talking, you know, I used to hunt with my dad. And we started talking, but unfortunately by that podcast, I got too busy with work and we never kept going with it because it just, with work, you know, life. And so, yeah, that was my whole thing with Javan. I literally went from this dude's an asshole to, oh, this guy's a great guy, to coming to his house.
Yeah,
And
sick as a dog,
Yeah.
you know, and you
And-
still came. A lot of people have been like, dude, I'm sick. I don't feel good. I hate I'm going to miss it, but I can't do it. You were like, I'm coming. And on your way you went, man. And from freaking Ohio, you know, this wasn't like a quick jaunt of a trip, dude. You had some miles to go.
10.5 hours.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long ride.
I would do about eight hours one way, coming here every 4 to 6 weeks
Now,
for
earlier,
a year.
you were mentioning that he would always have you doing stuff when you lived in North Carolina. Do you actually think he was doing that to keep your attention with him because he already knew he liked you in that way? And so he was giving you stuff to keep you busy and keeping you with him, so to speak.
Probably both. I mean, you know, probably just to keep me going, and I think he truly did want me to be involved in what he was doing, because I mean, he has fans that he was talking to right up until the end, that he was having them like read stuff for him and give him some opinions and stuff. So it wasn't just me. So that's why I say kind of both, but he does reach out to, you know, some of his fans that I guess would give him their honest opinions on stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, his first, the first book that went to audiobook, Still Life 1 there, I remember I was talking to Jack about it, and I was like, this guy he has speaking for him is god awful, because I didn't realize my Audible was like set on +3, like 3 times speed. And I'm like, his guy's Mickey Mouse. I can't even listen to this. And then I realized I was on ×3 speed and realized, okay, it actually is a good book and this guy can actually speak. But at first it was like, why is Mickey Mouse narrating?
Yeah, like what is
Well, the
going on
pigeons were
here?
shitting all over the road. And...
Yeah, pretty faster than that.
Yeah, that was full blown. That was full blown operator error right there.
Yeah,
But, and earlier today, I actually got to go have lunch with the very Mickey Mouse man you're talking about, and trust me, that Wisconsin accent is not Mickey Mouse at all. Sean Saltzman, we were hoping he was going to be able to make it on today, and he still might. There is still an outside chance that he pops up out of nowhere. We'll see. But
I better get on.
Got to meet him today, and that was freaking surreal because, you know, meeting Javan the first time, I met him through book 1, and I met his characters, how they sound, how they interact through the voice done by Sean. And so to get to actually meet the guy in person today, and no, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I didn't make him do the voices. I wanted to so bad. I just didn't do it. I was like, that's rude. Don't do that. There's a rude thing.
It would have been so good to hear Mo's voice.
Yeah. Well, now, see, I can't do a good Mo.
I know
But
I
I can
had some
do a
of that
good
too
smokes.
before. I don't know why. Some feedback.
Yeah, we're getting a little random. See, now it's gone. That's Javan messing with us, is what that is.
Yep.
Probably.
You read my mind there.
Yep, he is absolutely messing with us. All right. Now, next up, I want to go to Richard, because Richard, kind of like Ben, didn't come looking for the written undead so much as just kind of found it and then had a similar interaction. So, Richard, let me get your Javan story?
Well, I mean, I got direct marketed by G.J. Stevens. Yeah,
Which
he
we know
lured me
direct
into,
marketing is important, kids.
Yeah, he
Yes.
lured me into Written Undead like a kid with like a guy in a van with candy, and so I ended up joining Written Undead. I mean, when I just published my first book, and I had absolutely zero clue on how to market it. Didn't know about these writing groups on Facebook, and I had a Facebook account that I was just did my author page, and I just really had absolutely no clue on how to market my book. And I just published it out there and just waiting for it, watching the numbers to go up, and like, what's going on here? Like, nobody wants to read my book. What's going on? But I got on Written Undead, and I just reached out to the group and like, hey, how do you market your book? What am I doing wrong, or what am I not doing here? And then Javan, he reached out to me not long after that, and just asked, so you write zombie books? I'm like, yeah. I got one out that I released, got some zombies and Sasquatches and stuff. And like, that sounds pretty cool. And we got to talking. He's telling me, I knew I'd heard of Javan before. I hadn't read or listened to any of his books yet, but I had Zombie Lake on my TBR. So I mean, I knew who Javan Bonds was, and I'm like, well, I got this pretty big name author just reaching out to me. This is pretty cool, and he asked me if I wanted if I was interested in being a featured author on Written Undead. I'm like, well, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, sure. Well, what does that consist of? And so he told me, he gave me like a week to where I needed to post, a couple of things every day, and just gave me the my marching orders and everything, and I ended up getting into the group, and really helped me get my start as an author. I mean, I would not be, my books are way more successful than they started out. They're doing really well, and I have a lot to thank Javan for that, because I learned so much from him, and he was always willing to give advice, whether I wanted it or not. He was always there to give me advice. And I always appreciated that. I would not be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for Javan, for sure.
All right. Well, quick side story. Me and Richard actually gave him probably one of his at least top 50 favorite moments of all time when we were down for his birthday, when I had a mortar shell explode mere inches in front of my face, catching me right above the eye here.
We're talking about fireworks here, not actual mortar shells.
Yeah.
From,
It was
it sounds better. It sounds better if it's an actual mortar shell. Yeah. The thing was like this big, the shard that hit me was every bit of like this, I'm surprised I didn't lose the top of my head. It was, totally believable. Well, I don't even know if he waited to find out if I was okay before he started laughing once he heard that I got my face blew up. But when
I told him on the porch, and he just died laughing.
No, is he okay? Did he lose an eye? It's like, no.
I told him, I said, I think Jack's hurt. And Josh Harden was next to us, right? And I think Josh was saying what happened, and I reiterated it to Jav, because how people could talk to him, and then until I shoved it in his ear,
interpret it.
Right.
And he just busted out laughing, and I was like, "Well, we got to see how bad it is." And he's just laughing. He was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
and you know what's funny, Jack? That moment was the moment I decided to put that in the second book of my Watch series.
Yep, I'm gonna get a little something blow up in my face there, but that to me encapsulates a lot of my relationship with Javan, because once he knew that he could mess with me and I wouldn't get upset, I wouldn't get offended, I wouldn't get mad. Not that he'd really cared in the first place, but that he could just really dig deep into me. He would do it. I mean, he would mess with me every chance he got. So yeah, knowing that the moment he heard, oh, Jack just got his face blew up, Ha ha ha. It's like, yeah, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
not to mention there was one Jack. There was one time he thought me and you had a relationship because we were talking about crossed swords and Romans and all that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Me
He
and
liked
Angel
to
were
tease
fun.
you.
Yep. Yeah. Me and
Mhm.
Angel were good fun for him too, man. But
Yeah.
that was Javan's big heart, man. Because the old
Mhm.
expression, "I kid because I care." You know, if I'm not picking at you, if I'm not messing with you, then I don't like you. You know, and the fact that he would, you know, toy with us the way he did, man, just oh my God, I'm gonna miss that forever. In fact, since Sean hadn't been able to get here, we were talking when we were at the getting ready to go to eat, and he said the something he's gonna miss the most are the random texts that he would get from Javan. And I'm kind of paraphrasing him a little bit, but he said usually the text would start off with something like, "Hey man, what the fuck?" And that would be the text. And he's looking at it like, okay, I don't know what the fuck. And then they would interact. He said he's going to miss that so much, just being able to interact. And he, I guess, has gone back and has just, you know, reread some text. I think a lot of us have done that, you know, that have had text from him. Just go back and reread some of the more recent ones.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's I'm gonna miss that guy so bad, so bad. All right, well, Richard, I think you got to run because you got to keep Mama happy. And there we are. Look at me and Richard leaning in, all menacing and such.
He said that was like one of the best things that's ever happened to him. So I just live, and you know.
Oh, damn. Well, I tell you what, I appreciate that I actually got lucky to have stumbled on him. But Richard, you have to go because got to keep Mama happy. So if you want to send the host back, send the host detail back to me, and we will continue on.
Okie dokie.
Got to get the administrative stuff out of the way as we go here. Well, now, Patti, of all the things that he had you eat, what is the worst, and what was the surprisingly best?
There were so many. The surprising one that I ate that I never really wanted to eat ever, besides Marmite,
Right.
was a pickled egg. Because to me, they just this was like nasty, and he'd eat them all the time. He loved them. And so finally I broke down and I was like, fine, I will try this stupid pickled egg. Wasn't that bad. I told him, I was like, all right, I'm sorry. It's not that bad. It's not my go-to, but it wasn't that bad. I have to say, I still, everything he would have me put Marmite on, Marmite is just
that is the worst.
He
Oh.
tried to like that stuff so much. And actually, as a marinade, he would still tell you to this day, if you were here, that on a steak, it did not taste that bad. And Randy will probably tell you that too, because they marinated it. Oh, said recording stopped.
Yeah, that was because Richard had to split and he was doing all the recording. While y'all keep talking, I'm going to try to.
There you go.
Aha.
But yeah, Marmite, I think, is still the nastiest stuff, followed by Vegemite. That's not any better.
They're neck and neck, I think. They're both nasty.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben, give us your input on the Marmite thing. What's your feelings? Marmite, Vegemite?
It's like something that's come out the devil's arsehole is probably the best way to describe it.
Thank you.
Well, you hit it.
I mean, to be honest, the advertising slogan for it in the UK is either you love it or you hate it, and there's no people on the line between. It's either you like it or you don't, and that's it.
Well, your description of it is pretty fitting. It's like a black hole. I swear, I think you could get sucked into this thing.
Yes.
Have you tried it yet?
Oh yes, I've had it a few times. In fact, I did it at the memorial service, and just because it's stringing down the side of my finger. All right, Javan. Up or down? I'm not sure where you went, but whichever way you went, dude. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yuck, right?
That's going to leave a nasty aftertaste for a couple of days.
That's
Oh,
gonna
it's
be
the
a month.
Yeah.
you know what? It's
Yeah.
I think it's the aftertaste that is the worst. It's just and it doesn't
Poor
go away
Jack.
right away. It stays in your mouth. It's disgusting.
Oh, thank God for whiskey.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
Damn,
I'm
that
gonna have
bad,
to.
huh?
I'm gonna have to blow torch my tongue. See, usually I do it with like a cracker or something to kind of soak it up a little bit.
Well,
Straight raw dogging it. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
I don't know if you get them in America, but like over we have some called twiglets, which are
No,
basically
I
like
don't.
it's almost like I suppose it's like straight pieces of pretzel, but they come covered in Marmite, and I'm not a fan of those either, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh
Yeah.
man, Patty, you're lucky
Thankfully
that
we don't.
I was gonna say you're lucky that Ben hadn't told Javan about that back in the past, because you know he'd
Oh,
have had you ordered some.
yeah, I would have had to find that and we would have had to eat it because
Oh.
anything somebody mentions that he thinks that would be fun to eat, we would
Mhm.
have to
You would
eat it.
need it.
But
Mhm.
I mean, I spoiled him rotten because even I mean, a week before he died, he told me he hadn't had Rolos in forever, and the next day I went out and bought him a bag of Rolos. I mean,
There you go.
and
I'm a
anytime
fan
I
of
would tell
Rolos.
him, he would just get that grin on
Wonderful.
his face, like, "Thank you, baby."
Now,
Aw.
Like,
is
you're
it just me?
welcome.
Is it just me, or did the rest of you guys notice he was the epitome, the exact definition? If you looked it up, his picture would be there for devilish grin. He
Yeah.
had the perfect devilish grin when he smiled, that pointy chin and everything. Oh, you throw some horns on him, and
He'd have that one side almost like an Elvis thing going on, and he would just like, you know,
because that's like the picture y'all were using for the memorial service. I just look at it and like, yep, that's a Javan
Yeah.
grin right there.
he did that quite often. That was my favorite. The one where we were behind with the trees with the lights. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a place called Nakalula Falls down in Gadsden, and every year at Christmas they deck the whole park out in lights, and they have this whole little festival thing going on, and they have this train that goes through the park, and gosh, he would hate going. But he would go for his sister-in-law and for me because we would be like, "Come on, Jab," and we would load him up, and because he would freeze. I mean, I know. I mean, I know Jack and Richard got to meet him and Ed, but he was 120 pounds,
Same weight as me.
give or take, you know,
Mm.
for his health. And he was all bones, like there was no fat on him. And I mean, because he was 6'1". So I mean, you know, 120 pounds, 6'1", he had nothing on him. So he was freezing all the time. And so we would, you know, 2 shirts, jacket. We'd have the you know, those little packet hand warmer things all shoved in his pants and pants pockets and his jacket pockets, and he would go. And that picture was the year before I moved down. It was like one of our official pictures together, and I just love that picture.
Did you,
I'm getting
Patty,
it
did
back
you
again.
know Javan when he went to the ship
Did
years
I'm sorry.
ago? Well, did you know Javan when he went to the ship?
The
The
first time
ship?
he went with family, and then the last time he had gone was when he had his meet and greet in 2021, and I did go there. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I
learned a valuable lesson that
met
day.
him
Those
before he went the first time.
Yeah, the first time was, I think, just him and his family. They went to go, and they were able to get on the ship with him. And it
Right,
was his brother and his sister-in-law and everybody. So they had all went,
right.
but I didn't go that time. Yeah.
That was an exciting time for Javan, I think, because he was just early on in the series, I believe, and
I think so.
that was really a treat because he wrote about the wooden ship,
Oh yes. Yes.
and
He researched
and
everything about it, and he was able to go. You're right. He was very excited about that time. He told me that one time when he went. He was still kind of able to see a little bit. So,
Right.
yeah, he had a good time.
His vision wasn't quite so bad when I first met him.
No.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah, see, I learned a valuable lesson that day. If it's a hot, sunny summer day, don't lean on the rail. That black tar
Blistering
stuff or
hot.
whatever. Oh my God. I leaned in with my forearms just to do one of these to look around. It was like, nope.
Boom.
It's like,
Yes, it
ow.
was the wood. It was so hot that day because it was, I mean, August in Alabama. I mean, who knew?
Right.
It was hot, and the ship itself, they had painted it, and it was that dark paint. I don't know if it was like brownish black or something. It was like, yeah, colored. It was really ridiculous, and so the sun beating on it, yeah, you can get burnt.
Isn't it kind of like creosote?
Yeah, that's what it was, creosote.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets really hot in Alabama sun.
I painted a fence with creosote when I was first married, and that stuff burns when it gets on your skin.
Oh yeah.
Imagine.
Ouch.
That stuff ain't no joke. All right, well, continuing on around, it is now time to find out. Angel.
Yeah.
How did you first meet Javan, and what was that like?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, and I have to warn you, the ending is going to be a bit sad, so you might want to prepare those tears a little bit. So anyway, unfortunately, I suffer from PTSD since Hurricane Maria hit me. So 2018 was just a really bad year for me, unfortunately. But then the beginning of 2019, Javan contacted me to join the group, the Written Undead group, since he saw me. Because he saw me from another group, the reanimated writers group that was pretty popping back then, that unfortunately died out. So from there, he said, yeah, why not join me? And I said, sure, let's do it. And, I was getting back to why he saw me horror. And I was writing The Fifth Survivor, which I think you read, Jack and Hood. That was and that really took off. That series did really well, but I got Javan to thank for that. And then, but Javan, for me, to be honest, Javan kind of saw me as a kind of an authority figure too, like his right hand man. Like he would always message me, like what was going on in the group, or things that he didn't say in the group, he would tell me, like his right hand man, so to say. So if anything was, it's a little before your time, Jack.
Oh
he
used
to do that, and he used to just tell me his deepest, darkest things that he wouldn't tell nobody else. And then, so I kind of acted like his right hand man. So he kind of made me the admin of the group. Since I posted a whole lot of stuff, I would just still do every day. I try to post every day. So, the Fifth Survivor did really well and all that. But then the pandemic happened, and then I decided to make the switch to historical fiction. And Javan, he gave me his blessing. That's the one thing about Javan. He gave me his blessings. He didn't talk me down out of it. He said, you go for it. You go with what will make you money and will make you happy. But then I always made sure I was in the group still posting stuff every day, even though I was writing in a new genre. But then in 2023, I decided to go back to writing horror, since that's my forte. And now people wanted me to come back to that. So then, Pink and Mouse and Rats came out, and it blew the waters. It was my most successful series ever, you can say. Jack, you can attest to that, to how good it really was. But so me and Javan, we were like this, man. We were really close. Even I never really got to meet him personally, unfortunately. But there was one thing he told me. He messaged me about a year ago, because he knew me and my now ex-girlfriend. We were dating. She was in Michigan, and I was planning to go out there to Michigan to be with her. But unfortunately, we hit some really bad personal issues hit us both, so we had to separate for a little bit. And he told us, I would like to meet you and your girlfriend, but because I'm planning to marry Patti, and I want to marry Patti, and I want you to be there for my wedding. That kind of made me cry. I was like, yeah, man, you bet. Because I was planning this was back in August, by the way, of last year, when things between me and my woman, we were getting ready to make some plans, and then unfortunately, I got hit with another hurricane here in Puerto Rico, so that kind of derailed everything. and then my ex, she knows her father, and then everything just fell apart. And then I look back at that message and I say, I'd be damned if none of that happened. Not only did me and my ex separated, Patty, he never got to marry Patti. It kind of made me cry quite a bit, man. I would have liked to be there for that. That kind of made me just, and that's when you start to tear up a little bit if you're me, and so yeah, it's kind of a sad ending, I know, but other than that, I really had a really wonderful experience with Javan. He was like you've been saying the whole time, just the passionate, tough love kind of guy.
Mhm.
I can't say any much without tearing up. I'm gonna tear up a little bit.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it's how we process and how we grieve. I mean,
Yeah.
I love talking about him. And to me, we were kind of already married. I mean, even though we didn't have a ceremony or anything. I mean, because
Yeah,
I was all in
I got you.
right from the start.
Mhm.
And he wanted to have that that even if
Yeah.
because we were going back and forth because we weren't sure if we would just have a commitment ceremony or an actual wedding ceremony, just
Right,
because
right.
for his
Mhm.
benefits and everything, I didn't want him to have to lose some of what he could get, and especially medically,
I hear you.
what he needed. And but I mean, even without proposing to me or anything like that, which he wanted to do the minute I moved here. And we've always kind of pushed it just because I wanted to make sure, my kids would be okay with certain things because
I hear you.
they weren't 100% on with my
Well,
relationship.
I know.
But so we kind of pushed things a little bit, and I think that's why when he posted that video where I was shocked. I mean, I literally was shocked because we had just got done talking about waiting again, and he just
He'd
did
already
it.
warned me. He'd already warned me that it was happening. He was like, "Hey, dude,
Right.
Patty's kind of like trying to get me to wait, but I don't think
Yeah.
I'm gonna." And I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't
"Okay."
just
That was
he
the
didn't
see,
mind.
see, that was the impression I was getting too, that he was going to go with it all the
Yeah,
way.
I mean,
But
Javan got his way when he wanted to get it.
now, yeah, but like I said, Patty, I think what hurts me the most is the sense of incompletion. You know what I mean? It just seems incomplete.
Well,
Yeah,
I
That
mean,
he had so much more to do, but
yeah,
he
that's
did,
the way I
and
see it. And not just him, just with us all, as a group, as a kind of a family, like it
yes.
just seems incomplete. That's the way I feel. Yeah.
He wanted you guys to grow. He wanted you guys to do your best. He wanted you guys to just keep doing what you needed to do to further yourselves because he believed in you.
Yeah.
Um, and with us, I mean, it was I mean, his parents knew. I mean, I was all in from the start, so it wasn't like I needed to have a ceremony or anything because to me, I wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
Um, but I think he just, because he never experienced those things, he wanted to just to do them. But yeah, he wanted to do if he if he if his heart was as
Right.
strong as his other will to do everything else, he probably would outlive us all about
oh,
100.
No,
definitely.
definitely.
I mean, but it just I honestly thought I would have a couple more months with him, and it just
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I know it just wasn't meant to be. And like I said before, that's what really hurts me the most is that what he said to me last year, I really thought it would happen, but and then come to find out 1 year later, none of it happened. It all just didn't happen, unfortunately.
Um,
Hey, well,
you
to
know,
catch us up on some comments here real
Yeah.
quick,
Mhm.
Dungeon Dan, pretty accurate with this. He was the inspirational writing coach from hell. I say it with love. And then A.L. White, since he wasn't able to get onto the show today, he gave us a quick story. First time I talked to Javan, we argued over who should buy whose book. Then we argued who had the bigger health problems. 3 days later, he asked me to join Written Undead as a chosen author.
How you like
So
that?
that's one thing. And okay, Patti, make sure I don't say his name wrong. Ko.
KO.
KO at first mentions that he'd heard about you before you ever came down there because of Javan, obviously. Then he says, he said, it got more devilish over the years. 2007, it was about 1/10 of that, as far as that grin. So yeah, it kept growing apparently, you know. Well, see, that's like DJ said though about, you know, once suddenly he got used to the I'm in charge role.
Hey, listen, guys, I gotta get going.
Okay.
I mean, it was a pleasure, though. All right, I'll see you guys
Absolutely,
later.
man. Glad
Thanks,
you made
Angel.
it on.
Hi, Angel.
Right.
All right, now Ben, what at any point have you had an interaction with Javan where he texted you, which will obviously be a text, where you just kind of read the text and went, "This dude's out of his mind"?
Not honestly, not really, and that's probably because after being in the group for a while, you kind of know what to expect from from different people, and obviously we all know in the group that once you start talking, it goes down a completely different route. We knew exactly what to expect with Javan, and like I mentioned before, sometimes you'll read through what he'd sent, and you'd think, "What does he mean? Is that what he means?" And then it's when you twig that Dragon hasn't quite picked up rightly, but he sends it anyway. Whether that was just because he didn't realize, or whether he just because he thought those guys can figure it out. I'm not holding my hand forever.
I'm thinking it's the second thing.
Yeah, I think if it got close to what he was trying to say, he just would send it anyway. And sometimes I think toward the end, he really honestly couldn't hear it. His hearing really did get a lot worse in the last couple weeks that he was alive. So it was sometimes he would send something and I would be in the other room and I'm like, that didn't go how you wanted it to go. And we have so many, so I when I got down here, he got a phone. We got him a used phone. And because I was like, you know, sometimes I'm not always on Facebook Messenger because that's what he used primarily. And I said, let me get you a phone and then you can use Siri and you can text. So you can text me and whoever. So that just opened up a big can of worms because he was texting everybody and their grandmothers. And, you know, people would get text and would be like, because Siri would butcher it even worse than Dragon. And it was just so comical sometimes when we get a text and you're like, okay, hang on, I gotta try to read this back about 20 times to figure out what he's saying. And when you couldn't, you would just write back, what? And he would say it again. Or if Randy was here with him or whoever was here with him, you get a separate text with what he was actually trying to say. His Siri was awful. I mean, awful. There was one time I think I was sitting in the office and Jack knows his room and the office are across the hall from one another. And, you know, the doors were always open so he can yell Trish and I would come running and I would just hear him text people. And you thought he was bad on Facebook Messenger with you guys. I mean, he would, if there was something that his mom had to get, or he needed to ask his brother something, or he would just send me text and I was in the other room to remind me to do something. And you would just hear him talk to Siri because it would be like, hey, Siri, you know, and, you know, you're like, you'd hear him go, you know, what? And, you know, he would say whatever, you know, text Trish. And I'd be like, oh, okay, here my name, what? And I don't know what you would say something and Siri would repeat it and it would be totally nothing he said. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So then I'd let him go like a couple more times and he was so patient because he would just keep doing it. And then I would come into the room and I'm like, Javan, I can hear you. What do you want? What are you trying to say? And I would, you know, it would just be crazy. I mean, I would hear him, I'd know what he want, but you know, and he would yell at me. I have to do this because if you keep doing it for me, or if you come in and you know, just, yeah, he was like, it'll never get right. And I have to keep doing it. So he would correct me all the time. Like, okay, I'm just trying to help you. I'm sorry. But yeah, some of this stuff.
Well, an example of it not necessarily working for him correctly. One text he had sent me a little while back, just out of nowhere. He doesn't even start with like, "Hey, dude, what's up?" None of that. It's like Armand. Y'all know Armand Rosamila, who co-wrote with Mark Tufo for the United States of Apocalypse stuff. He said Armand Wasamilia has a podcast. He's also a fucking dick. See if you can get an interview swap with him. He's also an author. Did you ever get with Nicholas Sansbury Smith?
Yeah, it was
Sarge.
anything that would come to his head, he would text you.
Mhm.
So, I mean, gosh, I was just looking through some of my texts and oh, where was it? I probably missed it now. I was in the other room and he would just send me something,
Mhm.
like I'm like, you could have just called me in there and I would have talked to you. Like, no, just send me text. Because he didn't want to bother me because I was working.
You
I'm
know,
like, you're not bothering me.
the old expression gets thrown around a lot, and in most cases, it really doesn't apply. It's close, but doesn't fit. But 1 in a million fits Javan because he truly was. There's nobody else like him. I've never met anyone even close to being like that guy. No one, and that's a good thing because he is an individual. He truly lived his life as there's one of me, and I am the dog, and you're gonna have to bow down in my yard. And through all that, what could be perceived as cockiness, like Lee had said about like, who is this asshole? It's like you totally misread him if you thought that, because he had a heart that just cared and he wanted everybody to succeed. And he felt like if you're not working hard, then you're not working. If you're not pushing every single stinking day, then you're half-assing it. And he wanted everybody to succeed. He wanted everybody to be the next Robert Kirkman, with the TV series and the money and all the fame and everything. And if he hurt feelings to convey that message, he didn't care about that. He's like, no, 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 no. Get your feelings out of it, man. This is business, dude. We trying to make money here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Because he would hound me constantly about, so we, got to figure out a way to make some money off the podcast. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that, but whatever. We're just going to keep doing the podcast, see what happens.
He
And
wanted you to get paid, Jack.
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
You need advertisers. That's how podcasts make money. You
Yep.
need to collect an advertiser.
Yep. So, hey, CA, interested in advertising your book? Dan, I hear you got another book coming out. Want a banner? But actually, no. On a serious note, which Javan would be business oriented right now. We are looking at a different platform that will allow us to, stream ads and like do the whole thing and have our own cool little backgrounds and all that. Chris Philbrook's guy, Noel Del Torre. Probably just butchered that. I always butcher names.
Oh, I thought it was Del Torres, but maybe not.
He's got a little platform we're going to try to use for something for Chris to like do a Ring family podcast and whatnot. So maybe looking at kind of switching over and using that instead of Zoom and whatnot. Sorry, Zoom. You don't have enough bells and whistles. But guys, I tell you what, man, Javan literally changed my life. I mean, I have no other way to say it. I'm not like, Ben or Richard or Angel that got invited in as an author. I wasn't a damn author. It's a forklift operator. Still am. And I just kind of, through dumb luck and bad health, wound up getting hooked on the Mark Tufo Zombie Fallout series. And then once I got into, Walking Dead and everything, and I was just all into the whole deal, I find Facebook, Written Undead. I joined the group. And this dude, like, friends me and then texts me, like, hey, you want to check out my books? And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, I didn't know who he was. I mean, I was like, okay, sure, why not? And so he sends me his omnibus for his first set of books, I start listening to them. I'm like, oh my God, these are freaking amazing. And I just fell in love with it. I mean, the humor in it, the poop, the PP shots, all that, everything. It was just so funny. God, it was just some of the funniest stuff. And then we starts giving them like the cosplay gear that's actually functional. It's like, oh man, he is building something that's absolutely insane. I am absolutely digging this. Well, a little while after that, we get hit by the March 2020 tornado, and bad stuff happened. And for some reason, I felt more adventurous after that. Like I was like, I'm tired of just sitting at home all the time. I'm tired of just not going places and seeing things and doing things. And so when Patti and Randy and the group started posting about the meet and greet down in Gunnersville at Gunnersville Lake, I was like, I'm going to that thing. I will freaking be there. And so I loaded up and I took my butt down there and met Javan for the first time in person. And it was a chaotic kind of scene for him because he'd already expressed about how his hearing with all the voices around him, how it could interfere with him being able to talk. So I figured out early on, I basically had to stick my tongue in his ear, wiggle it around, and then I could speak. Well, maybe I didn't have to do the tongue part, but I did it anyway. He seemed to like it. Yeah. It worked. So not much after that. So not much after that, I get back home and I just randomly get a text from Javan about, hey, dude, you were funny as fuck on our 6,000 or 5,000 member celebration show, man. You like owned that shit. You know how Javan talks. And he's like, man, you want to interview all our featured authors? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, because I'd already got the bug. I liked this, what we're doing right now. I was enjoying it. It was fun. I didn't think it would be much anything. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to these folks. Man, fast forward, we're sitting here now doing this show for him, and I'm not sitting here right now doing it if I don't meet him. If I don't meet that guy, none of this is there. I'm not here.
Yeah, your wall started then.
Yeah. Early on, I had doubts because I was having issues. I couldn't quite get things figured out. I wound up having to have Angel, use his StreamYard to run the show because I didn't know what the hell to do. I was lost. And he would stay on me. He was like, nope, keep going. You're doing fine. Because I'd be like, yeah, but I can't do video, whatever. In case you forgot, I'm fucking blind. It's like,
in a wheelchair.
I'm listening to the fucking thing, man. It's fine. Keep going. And I'm like, all right, fine. Well, after a little while, I was like, you know what? I don't want to just keep doing the one-on-ones. I kind of need a team around me because I was lost as an Easter egg. I didn't know what the hell to do. I need a team. I need people to talk to. So my first two interviews were Angel and then Richard. The secret interview was the one that happened before all that, where I was so nervous the night before I was supposed to interview Javan with Randy there that I got so freaking drunk that next day I was so fucking hungover. I admit in front of everybody, it was terrible. I thought we'd gone an hour. We'd gone like 25 minutes, and I did this thing. I'm like, I don't know what the hell we're doing here. Oh my God. I felt so embarrassed. I'm like, yeah, he's going to tell me to go kick rocks after this. But he didn't. He was like, all right, so who you got lined up next? I can give you Angel Ramon. And I'm like, I don't know who he is, but okay, fine. Angel Ramon, send him my way. And it just kind of kept going. And even when I would start to get down and start to think, man, it's just, I don't know about this. He'd be like, nope. I need you to contact this person and then contact this person. And have you talked to Mark Tufo yet? I know you're a Tufo guy. And I'm like, I'm not reaching out to Mark Tufo. That's not going to be a thing that happens. And he's like, no, seriously, quit being a pussy. You can do it. And he would call me that regularly, by the way. Prime example.
Called me that.
See, that's how that man rolled. So through everything that Javan he had done for me specifically, I got to interview my favorite author straight up. I got to meet tons of talented, amazing, awesome authors because he threw this at me and said, hey, go do this, go do it. Now, what I didn't know when I signed up was that, yeah, he was Sarge. I didn't know that part. Yeah, I do now. Because, man, he would stay on me, but I needed it because I literally could have just been like, nope, and walked away and been like, I'm just going to go back to driving this forklift. I ain't dealing with all this. But he just would not let me quit. He would not let me stop. And I thank him for that. Like, I'm having the time of my life. I mean, for Pete's sake, I'm talking to Ben freaking Black, badass bassist in the UK who writes killer zombie stuff.
Yep.
Not everybody gets to do this. You know, I mean, I know the big running joke is everybody has a podcast. Man, it's overblown. You know, when I'm seeing at times, 24 to 48 hours later, we've had like 500-600 people watch an episode. I'm like, shit, Javan pops in my head and I go, we may have sold 10 or 12 books out of that. Because that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. That's what he wanted. That's what he wanted the show to do. He wanted to get the authors, the creators in front of people, in front of his group, and, get them money. I mean, that's what he wanted, and that's what we strive to do. So it was just, he was life-changing for me. I mean, I'm sitting here right now with some JBL headphones on, rocking out with y'all with the sunglasses on, even though now I don't technically need them, but Javan knows I look sexy.
Okay. There's the mama.
Hello, Debbie. Hi. Yes, Mama Bonds is in the house.
Hi.
Oh, you got to get closer. You have to get closer.
They came a lot sooner.
Oh, you got to get closer to the mic. We can't hear you too good.
Book 10 just came in the mail. We're unboxing it now.
Nice.
Yeah, we were out. So for people that were wanting to buy them, we got them in stock now.
Hand automatically goes up. Ching, ching, ching. I am in. Absolutely in. So, hey, y'all just got an exclusive right here during the Javan Bonds tribute show. Book 10's ready to ship, ladies and gentlemen.
Exclusive. Only known here.
This is the kind of information we can get you.
We've got I didn't have this before because it was sent to Debbie for her on her phone from a fan. We've gotten so many nice things said about Javan in the last 2 weeks. Oh, there it is. Woohoo! Nice.
Gorgeous. Oh, and yeah, look at the thickness. That's something with Javan that I was going to bring up. You start off with his first book, it's like normal novel. It's regular, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The things kept growing. I got one up there. I can't fit in a frame because it would shatter the glass to close the lid.
Well, there you go. Now you need to get
the
something.
last one, 9.
You need to get
He had a lot more to say as the books went on. He got more descriptive, and
he did.
I think more into the story.
Yeah.
And wanted you to see and smell and feel everything in those books.
Be immersed.
Correct.
Yeah, so I got a little message that Debbie wanted me to kind of read out. It got sent to her. Fans from all over just sent such nice things about Javan to all of us. And Debbie had this one from Kate Everett sent to her. It says, "Hi, Debbie. As one mother to another, I wanted to tell you how very sorry I am for your loss. In his words as an author, your boy's talent, creativity, and sense of humor shone through the pages. As I read, I thought, his mom must be so proud. Having to lose a child is something no parent should ever have to go through. I just wanted to let you know that his light shone far and will continue to burn through his words and actions in life. From me in the UK, sending love to all you all, Kate Everett." So just
nice.
really, really awesome words. Yeah, I mean, absolutely one of many. So Debbie responded, basically, thank you. That it's nice to know that Javan mattered. And she wrote, thank you. I really felt compelled to contact you and let you know that his life force reached out through his words, and his message was never anything but welcoming and kind. You made a very special human being.
He was.
And he was.
That's
And like you said,
awesome.
he was one of a kind, Jack. I mean, I think he was too. I mean, I don't
Yeah, I
think
mean, I think what you just said is better because I said like 1 in a million, but considering there's almost 1 billion people on the planet, yeah, he was definitely 1 in a trillion. Like there's not gonna be another Javan. That was the one we got to experience the Javan experience, and live it for a minute there. And of course,
Yep.
Debbie and Randy have got to live it the whole ride. And so that's
Yes.
why, Debbie, I'm going to need you to come up here closer to this microphone.
you go.
Okay, what you need?
Okay, what I need to know from you is one good, funny Javan story. Maybe even like one of the ones you told at the memorial, but something that just tickled you.
Okay. This is one thing that Javan told that is not the truth. When he was about 12 years old, he could still transfer from the car seat to the wheelchair. So we were in the van though, so I was going to get him out like his daddy would get him out. Randy would put him on his back and then back up to the wheelchair and set him down into the wheelchair. I missed the wheelchair. He went down to the concrete along with me. Not hard. I was just going down and we just kept going.
Yeah, I was gonna say the slow motion fall.
Yeah, one of those. So he told everyone that I threw him out of the van and peed on him. I did not. My pants were wet, but it was because I was laughing so hard at the circumstances. And I left him laying on the cold concrete so I could go change clothes. But I have 2 favorite stories with him and all his friends. One, when you would set Javan down in a regular chair when he was younger, you would have to place his feet so that he wouldn't slide because he could not do that. And so they decided one day they were going to KFC. They went to KFC. They set Javan down in the booth. They walked up to place the order. Javan promptly slid down. All you could see is his hand and his hand going, a little help here, a little help here. So they had to come back, pull him back up, place his feet so that he wouldn't fall. And then the funniest one was he wanted to go to a chicken fight. So his redneck friends loaded him up. It was too bumpety to take his wheelchair on the ride. So they put him on somebody's back and carried him. When they got to the ticket booth, the lady said, "Son, if you're too drunk to walk, you can't come in here." So some drunk man on the inside at the chicken fight hollered out, he can't really walk. Let him in. So they did.
Ain't
And
that
then they
messed
gave him
up,
free
though?
food, free popcorn and Coke the rest of the night. So the diabetic was hopped up on caffeine and sugar.
But ain't that messed up that they just look at somebody like that, just automatically assume, oh, you're just drunk, they're carrying you. It's like, nah, dude, my legs don't work, fucker.
Well, if you looked at Javan, he was always kind of loose and floppy. And when he spoke, muscular dystrophy affects every muscle, including your tongue. So he spoke like a drunk man. So he looked and sounded drunk. I can understand the mistakes she made, but nonetheless, those are 2 of my favorite Javan stories.
So sweet.
Randy says he doesn't have any Javan stories. I do believe he does.
I do believe he's full of it
Well,
if he's trying to say
tell
that.
You, they're not funny, but I can tell you how I obviously tried to kill him multiple times. Even when you buckled it, we had his wheelchair was different. He was using manual and he used electric too, but he we went to handicap hunts where they had a special hunt where you could go and they went out. It was really great. There's an organization called OFF, Outdoor Friends Forever, and you go out and they take you with guides and they hunt and they have a good time. You know, they feed you really good. You haven't got to experience just the normal hunter time with other hunters who volunteered their time. Javan met a really good guy that he became really good friends with, Joey. He's a fireman in Montgomery. But he one time going down, we got to Birmingham, and if you go to for those living in Alabama know, once you come off of Highway 79 onto anyhow, you get down there's this part, you got to go down a hill, make a hard turn. Well, I tried to take it easy, but I obviously took it too quick. And Javan fell over in the chair, and his chair fell over, and he hit the ramp and tore his ear. It busted his ear wide open. That's just one of the many times. Like I say, his brother did a donut in the parking lot and threw him and cut it. We've got so many pictures of his scar of stitches and cuts and gashes in his face. I mean, it's like we were trying to kill him.
And that was funny because he would actually, bring that stuff up either in the group or he would text to me, be like, "Oh, they're trying to kill me over here. I don't know what's going on."
Oh yeah. He had scars, battle scars from. I mean, it started out when he was young. His ankles and knees. He broke his ankles, knees, and so yeah. But he took a lot of abuse from us. But no, we did. Go ahead.
I was going to say now finish that, then answer this. I was going to ask you when he first decided to start writing, because you're a writer, you're a published author for Pete's sake. When he first gave you, like, say maybe the first chapter or two, and you started reading it, did you go like, "How did I create this monster?"
No, what it was, he listened. Before he wrote, he listened to tons of audiobooks. I mean, from almost all the Star Wars books, and he listened to all these zombie books, and he listened to, 7, 8, 9 a week. And he'd tell me about them. He'd tell about how some were good and some were not so good. The writing wasn't that good. And then Tufo, he loved Tufo. He fell in, Tufo was just his idol. He just loved his writing, loved the way he used comedy and the language, just like a normal guy type experience. Well, he was talking about that, telling me one time about this story, not good and not bad. And I said, all this listening, I said, "You've got a story yourself, don't you?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Then write it." I said, "You just need to write it." So he started, and that's how he wrote his first book, which was Free Set at Dodge, which is the prepper novel. And he's since been re-edited and everything. But then once he got to writing and he got the juices flowing, and he wrote, we discussed the zombie thing forever because he didn't like the whole Walking Dead, risen, for the dead type thing. It was too unbelievable. He didn't like that part of the fantasy of it or whatever. So he came up with the whole idea of doing the living infected, and I think he may have come up with the idea for the blue being blue and crapping everywhere.
That's the funniest part of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's him as a PV.
Yeah,
that's a PV.
But the whole, he didn't know what to call them. He didn't like zombies because they weren't zombies. And that's where we said, he said, "They're plague victims." I said, "Well, then they're plague victims. They're PVs." That's how the PV came from, because the plague victim name was shortened. So it was just like it became the slang thing for when the first people got infected, they called them PVs. And it just stretched out into a different word. And then the boat, we discussed that, how to survive an apocalypse. And so all that just was a lot of discussion. As I say, I've been with him. We discussed this all along. That's why he wrote a lot ahead. Like now, I'm looking at book 11 and 12, and he wrote stuff as far back in 2017. He had stuff that he wrote for those. I mean, he'd put it into a document and save it. So, and then we discussed it, the whole story, where it's going. So at length, we would sit here right where I'm sitting. Javan would sit here, and I'd sit over to the left here, and we would, for breakfast or whatever, we would discuss this for hours about different things. So, like I said, I'm going to try, once this is all done and settled, I'm going to try to continue with the story for what I know Javan wanted the story to go to. And so once I get things settled in, we'll see what we're going to go. And I've talked to people also. A lot of them are interested in doing an anthology of fan written stories in Javan's work. And so we're going to look at that too. I think that'd be a good tribute to him too. and with all the stories written by his own fans that know that know the world too for he's told them about it. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little difficult to begin with, but once we get into it, I think we can do his story justice and at least bring it to a close after a few books and just see where it goes. So
yeah, I mean, that's one of the most tragic things is when an author has a series and they don't get to finish it. It's like,
Yeah.
But in your case, you've got so many notes, so much stuff
Yeah.
to work with. So you know what he was wanting to say.
Oh, yeah.
Now you just got to go say it. And
Well, being his editor, I know his voice too because I've read it multiple times. So I know where, like I said, I know what Mo would say most of the time because because Mo was jabbing. So
Mhm.
Smokes was jabbing too.
Yeah, Smokes,
Yep.
believe it or not, was jabbing too.
Well, I say,
Most
well,
everybody else was somebody else.
now, if you at any point find yourself kind of struggling to get some smokes out there, I'll just tell you this. And sorry, Sean, I'm gonna do it anyway. Look here, Cracker. I am not gonna put up with this motherfucking stupid shit. Every time I hang out with your ass, you drag me off into some zombie infested fucking wasteland and try to get me ate. Fuck that. So
Yeah, you
there.
can channel Smokes. I'll have to talk to you about that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
for some reason I feel that character. I mean, that's and to me that's a big deal. If you write a book, if you write a series, and you create a character that hits someone like straight in the chest, like they're just like, I like this character, dude. That's something. I mean, that is powerful stuff right there. Now, you had written a little short set in that universe already, and we had fun getting that one to me.
Yeah, I'm going to complete that. I'm hoping to complete that series. It runs in Javan's world parallel, kind of like we're talking about the anthologies, and it's supposed to be a episodic 10 episodes, and then I was going to publish it as a full season, but hopefully I'm going to once I get into the juices for when I can finish that story. Whole different set of characters. Javan actually included them in the story at the end of book 8. I think there's a small little blurb at the end of the chapter where those characters appear. So I've got to go back and write all those up into that point and connect them. So it's going to be fun. Like I say, if I have time, I'll finish my other writings. I'm talking about I've got a trilogy I started years before Javan started writing, and I just set it on the shelf when Javan started to take up writing, and it's been sitting there and untouched for what, almost 8 years, 9 years. So,
Well, and that's something. That's another reason why I love you so damn much. You're a writer. Writers write. They write because they have to write. Ben knows. CA knows. I mean, it's what you are. And when Javan started writing himself and was dealing with everything he was, you were just like, no hesitation. You literally pushed it to the side, said, nope, new focus. And man, that's why
he made me a better writer too. But the years we've spent together writing and editing his stuff, I'm a much better writer and storyteller than I was before. So my stuff is like he talks about he would talk about how he'd read stuff that he wrote in 2016, and it was just horrible, compared to way he wrote now. And it is, because you just don't have you don't understand the fleshing out of the story, and can't fill in the edges till you learn how to express yourself more. And so I'm the same way. I go back and look, the story's there. It's just got to be re-edited to be a better written story, because I know so much more now. Thanks to Javan. Javan, he made me a better person and a better writer through all this. So it's been a fun ride.
All right. Well,
I think he's been that way for a lot of people.
He has.
Yeah.
He has. Absolutely has. Well, like,
I mean, you never knew what was going to come out of his mouth.
No, that's 100% true. All right. So quick statement. First off, I can't wait to see what you put out. And the big question is, what is the freakiest thing that Javan wrote that you were like, dude, I don't think you should put that in there, that still wound up being in there?
yeah,
Oh, she's
all the-
whispering in stuff from the sidelines. Over there.
oh yeah, all the penis shots, the description bullets
That
traveling
one.
down
That one right there. That's the one I brought up earlier before y'all got home, because it was like, oh, dude, do you not understand how much that just makes us go? It's like you're supposed to be on the guy's side at this point, man. Come on, shoot somebody in the cooch or something. What are you doing? Oh, geez.
And some of his stories about some of Mo's stories, just because his motos are just like, I mean, but that's just Javan. I mean, it's just the way he would discuss and think about all these things, and we would sit and talk about it. That's why Mo is so dear to our hearts, because Mo was Javan, and I mean, he just embodied everything about Javan. I mean, but you also got to enjoy all the hot, eating hot stuff and things, and to see his face when he put something hot in his mouth, and then he just like you could see it coming from somewhere behind his eyes. It was going to be, and then there was the expletives come flying out. Which I don't do those in normal conversation, but I can write them. So
yeah, because like see, you can hear his voice in your head.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if there's anybody that's meant to write, the conclusion for Still Alive, it's you. I mean, there's nobody else.
Hope I could do it. And like I said, I'm going to have these two good help, and because Patty's his biggest fan, so she knows his voice too. So she's going to keep me honest.
Are we going to see you two do it in Marmite?
No.
Just try.
Yeah, we'll do some coffee. Patty and I have a coffee session. So.
Y'all missed it earlier. I took a fingerful.
What was it? It was good, wasn't it? Delicious.
Oh, it was delicious. Marmite? I'm still tasting it.
Plain Marmite?
Ben doesn't like Marmite.
No. I literally just jammed my finger in it, stuck it in my mouth. That was not a good idea.
Jack.
It's bad.
Yeah, I even had a string of it kind of run down the side of my finger, so I had to clear that too. It's like,
Probably still has the acetate in the mouth.
It's still there. It's still there, and I'm firing straight whiskey at it, and it's like, nope, can't burn that stuff away.
I think you're gonna have to chase the dog.
At this point, I'm thinking Tide Pod for the win.
We did Marmite tea.
Yes, we did. Well, he put Marmite soda.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only thing that was ever actually really good was we marinated a steak. We dissolved it in warm water and soaked the steak in it, and it actually was not terrible. It actually was because it had the salty flavor and it kind of cooked the yeasty flavor away. But it actually wasn't. It didn't ruin the steak. It was just
and I think
even I liked it.
I think that's the key to all this crap right here is that you're not supposed to just like eat it plain. I think you're supposed to mix it and stuff. I think it's the idea.
Spread it on toast, right, Ben?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ben's like, "Oh God, no." It's like, no.
Just lightly toast. Put some on some toast. Right?
Shit, barely let the edge of the crust touch it, and then go tear the crust piece off and throw it away, and then eat the toast. It's like, nope, not doing this. This is not good.
I'll make you some raw toast, Jack.
Yeah.
What is raw toast?
Oh, you didn't hear that?
Complaint.
No, you just hit me with something I'm unfamiliar with.
His mother could not cook toast. She would fix him raw toast. Anytime he wanted toast, hot bread, sorry, because she would never toast it all the way. And so one of her best friends gave Javan a toaster that would actually toast bread on both sides. So it was actually had like a brownish surface, not just white and flimsy. It was actually crusty.
I just butter on bread, basically, got it just a tiny bit toasty on the edges because I don't like hard toast.
It's not hard toast; it's crispy toast. What are you talking about hard toast? It's crispy toast.
All the time.
Oh,
it is a wonder he made it until after 35 until Patti got here, because when Patti got here, evidently I forgot how to cook, or I never knew how to cook. One of the two. But he complained about everything I cooked and said Patti could make it better.
Hey, I'm gonna say this much though. Now, Patti's baked ziti rivals my mom's, and that's a hard thing to say. That's a hard thing to say.
Yeah, it is good.
It's that Italian blood.
Yeah.
just comes through, just absolutely comes through. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna send it around like for one less set of comments. Start with Charlotte, then we're gonna go to Ben, then come to you guys back there. Give us one last thing thinking about Javan.
With Javan, I think if you go to his author page, what he said at the end was Javan, but it should be all of us. Light your candle at both ends and go for it. He said it more eloquently, but basically it's go ahead. It may be shortened, but your flame will be brighter than anyone else's. So, I think that that's the way he lived his life, and we're all blessed to have known him.
All right, Ben.
I mean, Javan talked about before, the Written Undead group that was Javan's, that was his thing, and obviously he brought a lot of authors in, and then he's brought in yourself and Patti into the fold as well. You're all there in the Written Undead, which is, I suppose, it was his online family. So I think in many ways, obviously, it is losing that part of that family, which kind of brought it all together, and it's just making sure that we'll keep it all together to keep his memory going.
And we absolutely will. Like I said, the boss may not be around, but we know the rules, and we'll keep this thing rolling.
This is boss's round.
I'll have to put on my Javan every now and again.
DJ will crack the whip. She always looked out for him. She let him run it like he wanted. And like I say, y'all all know he could come across pretty coarse and hard, but he pushed people to do better because he felt, and so like I say, some of the other comments we've gotten from people were the fact that they thought they had it bad until here's this guy just suddenly messaged them and started talking to them, and they's like, oh, you can't see, you can't hear, and you're in a wheelchair. It's like, what have I got to complain about? I mean, I can do so much with what little problems I have compared to what you do with all the problems you have. So he pushed people to do better. He wanted everybody to be successful, and that was his thing with Written Undead. And if they weren't trying, then he'd push them on out and bring somebody else in. And that's what I say. He felt he'd give everybody a chance to try to do what they could to become more successful. Because he knew everybody had it in him. If you were going to push it, you had a chance to be better and do more. And he could see that even with his limited sight and everything, all his other senses, he could see so much more in other people. And I mean, again, he came across as tough and not caring, but y'all all know how much he cared because he wanted not just the group to be successful. He wanted each individual person in the group, all the authors, to be successful. And so,
well, what he set out to accomplish, we will not waver in continuing that. If I have to be the asshole, Patti has to be the asshole. If y'all have to be the asshole, Ben, since you're the only, and CA, because you're the only two of the group currently here, we're going to be assholes just like Javan, damn it. Go out there and market and direct market and sell and sell and sell and do the thing, damn it. Because that's what he would expect.
No, he would expect no less.
All right, well, guys, I'm so happy that you were able to make it on because it wouldn't be what it was if you didn't. So for everybody out there right now watching this, if you are a fan of Javan, go get the books you don't have, because I know everybody doesn't always have an entire series. Go get them. Go get those because you're going to love them. For the people that haven't met Javan yet and you're seeing it on my Facebook feed or somewhere else, this show, go get those books. He was so amazing. He had a way with words, and I've used that before with other authors, but man, this guy Oh my God. He could make you laugh even if you were in the middle of crying. He could literally snatch you out of that and make you laugh at some of the stuff he did. And as a human being, he was one of the greatest people I have ever met. And I've met some pretty cool people. And
Jack, I appreciate you saying that.
he's one of the tops for me. Like I said, I can count on one hand the number of people that have touched my life enough to actually make a change in it. And he's one of them. He's on that one hand. And getting to meet you, Randy, Debbie, Patti, Ben, Charlotte, everybody in the group, everybody in the whole damn thing. It's changed my life. Like I said, I work harder, I focus more, even though I still double book every now and then. He's given me a reason to live. And
We're all still going to be here, so
Yeah. Yeah,
it's very important that we keep
his memory alive. Yeah, that's what I say. He's going to always be here as long as we remember him. As long as we keep going, then Javan's still here. So I mean,
he'll be chasing blue PBs.
Yeah,
forever.
Yeah.
I guess I see him out there on his ship, just cruising along the seas. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this up, and thank everybody that tuned in. Thank everybody that's going to see it going forward. God love you, Javan.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, just later.
Yeah, see you later, Javan.